Discover the best
Hey everyone, you're watching Force Forward, where we explore what business looks like tomorrow. Today I'm joined with Cole Riley. Hi, Cole.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm excited to chat about what we've been building here and the future of philanthropy.
Yeah, well, we have a lot to unpack. And the last time we connected was actually April, I believe. So the start of the pandemic. And you were working on an initiative. You wanted to launch this food media company, which you then quickly pivoted into Founders Give. Bring me up to speed a little bit. Tell me about the success of Founders Give.
Founders Give was an incredible campaign that I launched right at the peak of COVID here in New York, where there was this incredible need in the hospitals for products, definitely meals, definitely, other types of supplies, but food and beverage products, think coffee and water bottles, all those types of orders, all those vending machines, those cafeterias had closed up as hospitals tried to shift resources around. But not only for healthcare workers, but patients, there was nothing around. There was no food product. So we had all these brands here in New York City that were sitting on additional inventory. And we found it a very easy, efficient way to get that product into our warehouse and out to hospitals. And what started as quite a local campaign of maybe 30 to 40 CPG brands ended up becoming the largest relief effort in New York City over 10 weeks. Larger than Feeding America, larger than Red Cross. It was over 2.5 million products, 300 brands from across the country of all sizes, including some of the big ones, the Chobani's and Kinds and Nestle's of the world. And it became a really incredible organization, a really incredible community of brands coming together with extra product for people that needed it most. And what's lost in that whole story were the patients. A lot of the focus was on the healthcare workers and giving back and supporting them. But again, across the 51 hospitals we were serving, patients that were struggling with COVID, that were in there for this insane disease at the peak of it in the city. There was nothing for them either. No bottles of water, no coffee. So it was an insane campaign. We did it for 10 weeks. The need had dissipated. The hospitals had really kind of gotten a little bit back to normal by June. And that's when I started to look to the future as to what we could build next.
Tell us now about your newest initiative. You're always looking for something to fill a need, to solve a problem. Your newest initiative, Wellfare. How did the success of Founders Give contribute to this?
How can we create a great organization that plugs into the CPG community? That was a conversation that we spent months trying to think about what could be a solution for the CPG world. At the same time, looking at the state of philanthropy, looking at specifically the state of food insecurity. What is going on? These organizations have been around for quite a while, the Feeding Americas and the food pantries, and they're doing really good work, especially right now. They're maxed out. But when you see lines that stretch for 4 hours and you see people still receiving adequate product, and you see the numbers, the 50 million food insecure Americans, all this before COVID, you still see these problems that have persisted for generations. It looks like there's an opportunity for disruption. It looks like there's an opportunity for a brand new model. And not something that's just local, but something that's big. Big vision, a big model, something that's scalable, and something that meets the need right at the door, that sources better products, and also creates a relationship with families so that it's not a long line and an anonymous relationship, the indignity of just receiving a handout and you have to come back next week. So grappling both things, something that works with CPG brands and something that really innovates on this inadequate, inefficient food feeding system in this country. And that's Wellfare. And that's what we announced recently, a couple of weeks ago, and we'll be launching in February. We are a nonprofit food subscription service for those in need. And what we're building is going to change the whole conversation around food insecurity because of the way we're approaching it. When we look at the food pantries, when we look at federal subsidy programs, when we look at the states, when we look at small little nonprofits, they're usually tackling the problem from one vantage point. Maybe it's cost, maybe it's a geography thing with food deserts and food swamps. Some are trying to help with education and teaching people what you should be eating, what you shouldn't, and choice. For us, it's the intersection of all three issues. It's affordability, it's accessibility, it's awareness. It's all three. It's not one, it's not two, it's all three. And in different neighborhoods, some may be a little bit more important than others. We know awareness and education is across the board lacking. And that's for everyone. I mean, whether you're in these income brackets or beyond, awareness on what you're putting in your body is at an all-time low. And there's a lot of opportunity to improve there. But providing a cost-effective option that's delivered straight to someone's door with better products and educational materials, that's what Wellfare is going to be. We're going to be sourcing incredible, better-for-you products from brands across the country, putting them in a box and delivering them to our subscribers' doors, and really structuring the whole relationship like a subscription service, where there's customer acquisition and customer experience, where there's accountability, just like any subscription service. You're not taking your subscribers for granted. You need to keep them. And the hook is it's free. It's a free service if you qualify as a SNAP holder or a public housing resident. And we're going to be here in New York launching this. And this is something that we know we're going to perfect over the next couple months, how to really launch and grow this, be nimble. But for us, we look at it as something that can stretch across the entire country.
Well, you're certainly covering a lot of ground with Wellfare, and you're touching upon a lot of popular narratives that we're seeing in the consumer brand universe. For example, there are a lot of buzzy terms that define modern CPG brands when we think of DTC, when we think of mission-driven, and I feel like Wellfare is the perfect marriage of these things. So tell me a little bit about what the response has been like with some of the brands getting involved.
It's been incredible, the response from the mission-driven brands that are growing and scaling the past few years. But even the quite large kind of legacy conglomerates are really excited about this, because we're not virtue signaling. We're talking about an approach that is rooted in solving the problem, and that's something that isn't really focused on. I feel like people like to get cute about this issue, and they want to do things like, for us, we're going to have a huge media operation with content and storytelling around the themes of nourishment and being able to broaden the conversation. And for brands, it's a great opportunity for us to work together. But that alone, that is just one part of the equation. For us, rooting the whole foundation of Wellfare is this massive logistics operation we're going to build out, taking product across the country and getting it to people in subscription boxes. It's a huge undertaking, and we got a massive vision. And I think that realness, that kind of hunger to solve the problem is what's resonating most with brands, is that we can do all these really fun, engaging, experiential events on the ground. We can do this incredible co-branded content. We can be that outlet for brands to, again, like I said, flex that social impact strategy and communicate why they exist in the world of food, why their products are better for you. And I think we want to have those conversations. We want to talk, and we want to help amplify the best companies of the future and our partnership together. But when it comes down to how do we solve this problem, brands are really excited to partner with this, because we're not talking about being cute. We're not talking about being small and super hyper targeted. We're talking about a comprehensive approach to a broken system, and bringing in not only CPG, but bringing in local and state governments, and eventually the federal government, bringing in foundations, bringing in all these different stakeholders to build this incredibly massive operation. So far, brands are really excited to be aligned with this. And as we grow, the opportunities for us to work together are going to expand. Right now, we're calling on brands for in-kind donations to talk to us about what product they typically are sitting on that codes, or product that, maybe it's opportunistic product, just kind of mislabeled, and they're looking for a home for it, or just brands that want to give and give better. So right now, that's the nature of a partnership, is let's get product out of those DCs, let's get them into our warehouse and get them to people starting next month. But down the line, there's going to be so many different ways that we can work together to amplify our vision, our operation, and the brands that are supporting us. So it's been an incredible response, and I'm really eager to see how quickly and how fast we can grow this thing together.
And you mentioned logistical challenges, but you're certainly no stranger to logistical challenges. Mind you, you built this distribution pipeline to get products to frontline workers in a matter of weeks, if not months, with Founders Give. So you certainly have some experience there. And I have to ask, because you did all of that with Founders Give in a virtual remote environment. So you are effectively doing the same thing with Wellfare. So tell me a little bit about that. What's it like to build this organization, this brand, this initiative from a virtual environment?
It presents unique challenges, but I think this is where some organizations can, again, like you said, where be cute, where they still would maybe try to help solve or try to create new solutions virtually. At the end of the day, we got to get on the ground. So the way we're introducing ourselves to neighborhoods starting at the end of February is with our activations, where we're going to be introducing the brand, the service, talking about the products you can come to expect, answering questions in the community. That requires an on-the-ground presence. We're going to do these really incredibly well built out airstreams, branded airstreams that we're going to park right in the middle of neighborhoods for a day of activation. The logistics of once the subscription starts, of how we're taking in product in warehouses, fulfilling the orders, delivering them out to our own staffed distribution outposts, these little pickup outposts that families will come down and pick up. All these things, obviously operating and building this thing out during COVID presents challenges because the whole team can't be together. But the solution has to be, we can't be shy to get on the ground and to create that presence on the ground, create that trust face to face. I think what's really exciting about this is that we are still delivering product right to the community. And I think not only given this time right now where people are still anxious to get out, but going forward, when you're dealing with an elderly population, usually around 35 to 40% of the subscribers are going to be elderly, or there's a portion that's disabled. This is something that's going to be brought right to the door. That doesn't exist anywhere. You can't get that. I mean, obviously there's food, there's grocery delivery, but it's too expensive, regular grocery delivery. And only if like one or two accept SNAP online. So for us, we're building out something that obviously meets some needs right now, but is going to be incredible down the line because of the way we're getting it right to someone's door. But overall, building this organization in this landscape is interesting. I have had my fair share of experience during Founders Give, and that logistics operation was something we built in 3 days. Honestly, it was quite quick. It's really just a puzzle. That's all it is. The product's there, the people are in need, and they're screaming at the top of their lungs, and they need help. And all it is about connecting the dots. And I don't want to make it sound like it's that simple, but from what we're doing and the way we're approaching this is that there's a scale to it, but it's really just about connecting the dots and communication between the brands, ourselves, between the families and our logistics and how we're doing this thing. And so far it's been really smooth. And we got a team of 7 here, doing everything from logistics to our branding to the customer experience, customer acquisition, head of community, and it's only going to grow. But I'm eager to get to move past this COVID deal because I cannot wait to build and bring the whole team together. Because once we do that, I mean, this thing is going to take on a whole nother life.
You did mention there is nothing like Wellfare right now on the market, which is surprising. But if you had to compare, is there any similar nonprofit on the market? Is there, and if so, how does it compare?
You look at the state of philanthropy, you look at the other organizations, the closest thing is possibly Meals on Wheels. Again, it's just hot meals, and it's for a very specific population in the country. For us, there really isn't anything out there. And there's nothing out there that is going to be talking like us in that manner of disruption, that things need to change, that even down to our name and the incredible stigma that surrounds this really noble idea of taking care of one another. How do we disrupt that? How do we reclaim that really beautiful original definition of welfare? It's something that isn't stigmatized around the world, just stigmatized here. How do we get back to the roots of that? How do we, as an organization or eventually as a community of people and brands across the country, How can we reclaim that really great idea of taking care of one another? So logistically and as an operation, there really isn't anything out there that's working with better products, that's delivering it more efficiently. Really, the only thing out there is Meals on Wheels, but in this pantry, it's these, in this grocery space is really the food pantries out there. That's going to be our chief kind of, we don't want to position as a competitor, but the other option for a lot of people. And a lot of our subscribers are still going to have to frequent food pantries until we grow and can provide more choice. But, for us, it's more than just the box. It's building a first of its kind philanthropic brand, something that isn't just mission driven, but is a mission. It is a mission in itself. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. It wants to live and thrive and scale like a traditional for-profit operation, but we maintain that philanthropic duty. We want to create a brand affinity that isn't out there right now. The way we think about Feeding America and American Red Cross is quite different than we think about Nike and Chobani. Why is that? Why can't people think about nonprofits and be excited about it? Nobody wants to interact with Feeding America. The goal is to not have to be a customer of Feeding America because it's embarrassing. It looks bad on you. You just don't want to. That needs to end. People need to be comfortable asking for help, and we need to create a new type of organization that people want to participate in, whether they're truly in need and in that space, or on the other side, want to give or participate or need help themselves and need just like nutritional facts and want to learn more about how to better take care of themselves. Being able to open up the conversation beyond in need, insecure, in relief, this really stigmatized language. So when I talk about the market, there's nothing really out there logistically or with the same ethos as us with what we're building here with Wellfare.
Just like Founders Give, you're carving such a truly unique niche in the space. So tell me, last closing question for you, because this is ForceForward and we always talk about future leaning businesses. And what excites you most about the next 3 to 5 years?
Nobody thinks about nonprofits as sexy. Nobody coming out of Stanford Business School wants to go work for a nonprofit. The word nonprofit, it signals to you that this isn't something that scales. There's no business streams. There's no growth. There's nothing big. It seems quite limited. That's what really gets me excited, is that we here not only can start to flip the script around food insecurity with this incredibly innovative delivery method and build on that. More choice, produce, products that we produce, a marketplace. There's a lot of different ways that we can grow that once we really solve this MVP. But it's talking about broadly how to take better care of yourself and how to take care of others, and why have these problems that have plagued us for generations, plagued this country for generations, why haven't they been solved yet? And so that opportunity to really lead the conversation on nonprofits in general and have this incredibly effective approach that supports everything that I'm saying, that's what excites me. Because the next 5 years, we not only have an opportunity to have maybe 5 to 10 million subscribers across the country and be really much larger than just a box and be a marketplace and be a bunch of different things, but we could really be changing everyone's kind of preconception around nonprofits, and people are going to start thinking, wait, I want to get my career started there, or I want to build my own, or really start thinking about this space differently and not having such a division between for-profit VC-backed operations and nonprofits, that they can kind of exist in the same space as, organizations that have big ideas with teams that are motivated to solve it, and still revenue streams and have revenue streams. It's just one is supported by venture capital and one isn't. One's supported by the government and foundations, or maybe their own independent sustainable revenue streams, which is where we want to be. So that's over the next 5 years. That's what really excites me, building out an incredible operation on the ground and starting to change the culture around this space.
Well, you're so visionary, and you certainly set lofty goals, and I have no doubt you'll be able to execute and achieve them. Thank you so much, Cole. This has been so wonderful catching up, and I so look forward to following the success of Wellfare.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for having me.